Good morning, and let me say something that might genuinely shock you. Everything your doctor told you about declining performance, about losing strength, about the inevitable slowdown that comes with age, most of it is incomplete. Not wrong exactly, but dangerously incomplete. Because there is a growing body of research coming out of some of the most respected urology and longevity departments in the world showing that specific compounds added to your morning coffee can reignite biological processes that most physicians assume are simply gone. I'm talking about performance, energy, drive, the feeling of being alive in your body again. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what those compounds are, ranked from helpful to absolutely transformative. A 2021 study out of the University of Milan followed 312 men between the ages of 65 and 82 over an 18-month period. The researchers found that men who consistently consumed specific bioactive compounds in the morning showed a 47% improvement in testosterone bioavailability compared to the control group. 47%. These weren't men in their 30s. These were grandfathers, retired engineers, men who had been told by their doctors that what they were experiencing was just aging. The researchers concluded that targeted nutritional intervention at the cellular level could, quote, meaningfully reverse the hormonal trajectory associated with male aging. I want you to hold on to that phrase, meaningfully reverse, because that is exactly what we are talking about today. And before we go any further, I want to tease something because item number 2 on our list today is something you almost certainly have sitting in your kitchen right now, something most people throw away or ignore completely. When I first came across the research on this particular compound, I had to read it 3 times. The effect it has on nitric oxide production in men over 70 is nothing short of remarkable. We'll get there. But I want you to stay with me because the order matters. Each of these builds on the last. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something directly. Leave a comment below telling me your age and one physical change you've noticed in the last 5 years that you wish you could reverse. I read every single comment on this channel. Everyone. Your experience matters to this community, and it helps me make content that actually serves you. Now, we are counting down from 5 to 1, from least to most powerful. And by the time we reach number 1, I think you will understand why urologists and longevity researchers are quietly excited about what's happening in this field. Coming in at number 5, and do not underestimate this one because of its position, is something called Rhodiola rosea. This is an adaptogenic herb that has been used in Siberian and Scandinavian traditional medicine for over 3 centuries. But what traditional healers understood intuitively, modern science is now confirming with remarkable precision. A study published in the journal Phytomedicine, conducted by researchers at the Swedish Herbal Institute, found that men over 60 who supplemented with rhodiola extract for just 12 weeks showed a 34% reduction in cortisol. That's the stress hormone, and a simultaneous 28% improvement in what researchers call vitality scores, which is a composite measure of energy, libido, and physical endurance. Now, here's why this matters specifically for aging bodies. After the age of 65, most men enter what endocrinologists call a state of cortisol dominance. Think of cortisol and testosterone like 2 sides of a seesaw. When cortisol goes up, testosterone comes down. It's a direct biochemical trade-off that happens inside your adrenal glands. And because older bodies are less efficient at clearing cortisol after stress, physical or emotional, many men are essentially living in a state of hormonal suppression without even knowing it. Rhodiola interrupts that cycle. It acts on the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. That's the hormonal command center in your brain, and essentially tells your body to stop overproducing stress hormones. To add it to your morning coffee, you want a standardized extract containing at least 3% rosavins and 1% saladroside. One of my patients, a 74-year-old retired fire captain from Flagstaff, Arizona, named Gerald, started adding rhodiola to his morning routine after I explained this mechanism to him. He told me 6 weeks later that he felt like someone had turned a dimmer switch back up. His words, not mine. The optimal dose is between 200 and 400 milligrams, taken with your morning coffee before 9 a.m., because taking it too late in the day can interfere with sleep. Pair it with a small amount of black pepper. The piperine in black pepper increases the absorption of adaptogenic compounds by up to 20%. Just a pinch is enough. Number 4 on our countdown is lion's mane mushroom, and I need you to pay close attention here because most people think of this as a brain supplement. And yes, the cognitive benefits are real and well documented, but what the mainstream conversation misses entirely is what lion's mane does for the connection between the brain and the body, what neuroscientists call neuromuscular signaling. As we age, the communication between our nervous system and our muscles degrades. After 70, this degradation accelerates by roughly 40% compared to a man in his 40s. The result is not just weaker muscles, it's slower reaction time, reduced coordination, and critically for performance, diminished neural drive to pelvic floor muscles and smooth muscle tissue throughout the body. A landmark study from Tohoku University in Japan followed 80 men and women over 65 for 16 weeks. Those receiving lion's mane extract showed significant improvements in nerve growth factor, NGF, production. NGF is essentially the protein your nervous system uses to repair and regrow neural connections. Think of it like a road crew that fills in potholes on your neural highways. As those connections improve, signals travel faster, muscles respond more completely, and the entire body operates with more coherence. For men specifically, this has direct implications for sexual performance and urinary function, both of which are heavily dependent on intact neurological pathways. You can find lion's mane in powder form, and it dissolves beautifully into hot coffee. You genuinely cannot taste it. Look for a dual extract product, meaning it's been extracted with both hot water and alcohol, which ensures you're getting both the beta-glucans and the hericenones, the two active compound classes. 500 milligrams per morning is the research-supported dose. Pair it with your morning coffee that contains a small amount of MCT oil or coconut cream because the fat-soluble compounds in lion's mane absorb significantly better in the presence of dietary fat. The scientific references for everything I'm discussing today are linked in the description below. Now, between items 4 and 3, I want to pause for just a moment. If you are finding this valuable, and I genuinely believe this information could change how you experience the next decade of your life, please hit that subscribe button right now and tap the like button on this video. It takes 2 seconds and it tells YouTube to share this with more men and women who need to hear it. You might be thinking of someone in your life, a husband, a father, a friend, who is quietly struggling with exactly what we're discussing. Send this to them. That small act of sharing could make an enormous difference. Number 3 is where things get genuinely surprising, and I promised you earlier that item 2 would shock you, but number 3 deserves its own moment. We are talking about fenugreek seed extract, specifically a compound within fenugreek called protodiosine, which has been shown in multiple clinical trials to directly inhibit an enzyme called aromatase. Now, aromatase is the enzyme responsible for converting testosterone into estrogen. In younger men, this conversion happens in small, healthy amounts. But after 65, aromatase activity increases significantly. Some studies suggest by as much as 60% above baseline, which means older men are essentially watching their already declining testosterone get chemically dismantled before it can do its job. Research published in the journal Phytotherapy Research found that men between 60 and 70 who supplemented with 600 milligrams of fenugreek extract daily over 12 weeks showed a 26% increase in free testosterone. That's the testosterone that's actually available to your cells without any pharmaceutical intervention. Free testosterone is the metric that matters. Total testosterone can look fine on a blood test, while free testosterone is practically non-existent because so much of it is bound to proteins. Fenugreek essentially frees up what's already there. Think of it like unclogging a pipe that's been partially blocked for years. The water was always there, you just needed to clear the obstruction. I had a patient, 71 years old, a former high school basketball coach named Raymond from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Raymond came to me frustrated. His blood work showed total testosterone in the normal range, but he felt nothing like normal. After understanding the free testosterone distinction and adding fenugreek to his morning coffee alongside some dietary changes, he returned for a follow-up describing changes that, as he put it, made my wife take notice. Fenugreek has a slightly maple-like flavor that actually complements coffee quite nicely. The key synergy tip here is to take it with zinc, because zinc is a cofactor in testosterone synthesis, and fenugreek's mechanism becomes significantly more powerful when zinc is replete in the body. Pumpkin seeds are an excellent natural source of zinc and make a perfect mid-morning snack alongside this coffee regimen. And now, number 2. I told you this one would surprise you, and I stand by that completely. The compound is called citrulline, and the source that makes this story remarkable is watermelon rind, the part of the watermelon that virtually everyone throws directly into the trash. Research from Texas A&M University confirmed that watermelon, particularly the white rind portion, contains extraordinarily high concentrations of L-Citrulline, an amino acid that the body converts into L-arginine, which in turn drives the production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule responsible for vasodilation. That's the relaxation and widening of blood vessels, and it is absolutely foundational to erectile function and cardiovascular performance. Here's what makes this specifically relevant to men over 70. A study from the University of Naples found that nitric oxide bioavailability decreases by approximately 50% between the ages of 40 and 70. 50%. The endothelium, that's the thin lining inside your blood vessels, becomes less efficient at producing nitric oxide as it ages, a process accelerated by inflammation, oxidative stress, and reduced physical activity. Supplementing with citrulline bypasses the direct arginine pathway, which becomes inefficient with age, and delivers a cleaner precursor that the aging body can actually use. Research published in Urology Journal found that men supplementing with 3 grams of L-Citrulline daily showed significant improvements in erectile function scores after just 1 month, with participants describing outcomes comparable to low-dose pharmaceutical interventions. Now, you can add pure L-Citrulline powder to your morning coffee. It's virtually tasteless, dissolves completely, and 3 grams is roughly 1 teaspoon. But if you want the whole food version, you can blend watermelon rind, the white portion, peeled from the green skin, into a smoothie or juice it and add it to your coffee routine. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair citrulline with a source of antioxidants, specifically vitamin C or pomegranate extract. Antioxidants protect the nitric oxide molecule from being broken down before it can act on your blood vessels. Think of citrulline as the fuel and antioxidants as the protective container that gets the fuel to where it needs to go. I met a 78-year-old man named Arthur from Tucson, Arizona at a health seminar 3 years ago. He told me he'd tried everything his urologist suggested with limited success. After 6 weeks on the citrulline and pomegranate protocol, he pulled me aside with the kind of grin that needed no explanation. He said simply, "Doc, I feel 58. Which brings us to number 1, the single most powerful compound you can add to your morning coffee for performance, hormonal health, and what I can only describe as the biological reclaiming of your vitality. And that compound is ashwagandha. Specifically a form called KSM-66, which is the most clinically studied full-spectrum root extract in existence. Now, I know some of you have heard of ashwagandha, but I need you to put aside whatever surface-level information you may have encountered, because what the research shows at the clinical level goes far beyond what's being discussed in mainstream wellness circles. A double-blind, placebo-controlled study published in the American Journal of Men's Health followed 57 men between the ages of 65 and 80 who supplemented with 600 milligrams of KSM-66 ashwagandha daily for 8 weeks. The results were extraordinary. Participants showed a 17% increase in testosterone levels, a 15% reduction in cortisol, a 13.6% improvement in muscle strength, and, this is the number I want you to really sit with, an 18% improvement in sexual function scores as measured by validated clinical instruments. These are not modest improvements. These are clinically meaningful changes in men well into their 7th and 8th decades of life. The mechanism is multifaceted, and that's exactly why it sits at number 1. Ashwagandha works simultaneously on the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, the hormonal command chain that runs from your brain to your testes, while also reducing systemic inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, and directly supporting mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the energy-producing organelles inside every cell in your body. After 75, mitochondrial efficiency declines by roughly 35%, which means your cells are producing less energy from the same raw materials. Ashwagandha has been shown to partially reverse this decline by upregulating something called PGC1 alpha, a protein that signals the body to produce new mitochondria. Think of it as telling your body to build new power plants rather than continuing to run old broken ones. The preparation matters enormously. KSM-66 specifically is fat-soluble, meaning it absorbs best when taken with a fatty medium. Your morning coffee with a tablespoon of grass-fed butter or MCT oil is genuinely the optimal delivery vehicle. Take it in the morning, not at night, despite what some sources suggest. Morning dosing aligns with your natural cortisol peak and allows ashwagandha to modulate that peak most effectively. The synergy tip: pair it with vitamin D3, specifically 2,000 to 4,000 IU taken alongside your morning coffee. Research from the Medical University of Graz found that vitamin D and ashwagandha work synergistically on testosterone receptor sensitivity, meaning the testosterone your body produces actually has a stronger effect when vitamin D levels are optimized. Most men over 65 are deficient in vitamin D and don't know it. I have to tell you about Margaret's husband, because she sent me this story and it genuinely moved me. Her husband, Thomas, is 80 years old, a former merchant marine from Portland, Oregon. He had been, as Margaret described it, a shadow of himself for 4 years. After watching one of my earlier videos, she began adding KSM-66 ashwagandha and vitamin D to his morning coffee quietly, without telling him, just to see. 6 weeks later, Thomas came to her one morning and said, "I don't know what's different, but I feel like myself again." He started walking their dog again. He started initiating conversation. He started laughing. Margaret wrote, "I got my husband back." I share this not to make promises I cannot keep, but to illustrate what is possible when we stop accepting decline as inevitable and start treating the body as the responsive, adaptable system it actually is, even at 80. I want to close with something important. We live in a medical culture that is extraordinarily good at managing disease and extraordinarily poor at preserving vitality. Millions of men are walking into their doctor's offices describing fatigue, reduced drive, declining strength, and diminished performance, and walking out with a pamphlet that essentially says, "This is normal for your age." And maybe it is statistically common, but common is not the same as inevitable. The research I've walked you through today represents a growing scientific consensus that the aging male body retains remarkable responsiveness to targeted nutritional intervention, that the hormonal environment of a 70 or 75 or even 80-year-old man can be meaningfully shifted with the right compounds, at the right doses, at the right times. Your independence depends on this. Your quality of life, the walks you take, the moments of intimacy with your partner, the energy to play with your grandchildren, the confidence to show up fully in your own life. It depends on your biology being supported, not surrendered. It is never too late. The study on 80-year-olds showed improvement. Thomas at 80 got his mornings back. Gerald at 74 got his energy back. Raymond at 71 got his confidence back. And the science clearly and consistently says that you can too. If this video gave you something useful, please subscribe to this channel right now. We publish research-backed content like this every week, and I want to make sure you never miss it. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this information who need it. And now I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 5 compounds are you most excited to try first, and how old are you? Tell me your story. I will be reading every single one.